Y'all won't believe what 112 just revealed about their time with Diddy at Bad Boy Records. Like, forget everything you thought you knew about that glitzy lifestyle. This tea is scalding hot, and I mean scalding. We're talking about the kind of behind-the-scenes drama that'll make your jaw hit the floor. The reality, it was absolutely brutal. We're not just talking about tough love here, we're talking about midnight blizzards, insane demands, and the kind of control that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the music industry. Let me spill all this piping hot tea about what really went down and why 112 finally said enough to Diddy's iron grip.
But as they climbed the charts, the trouble started creeping in. It started in 1999. Puff got involved in some legal trouble, as Puff does, and the boys thought about jumping ship. Besides, they'd already got the taste of success without Puff.
It was around this time that the group members began to notice that the money was indeed funny. They enjoyed being at the top of the charts, traveling the world, and everyone knowing who they were, but their lifestyle didn't reflect that at all.
And you know what I'm saying? We know how to make certain stuff, but what makes us different? He looks at me and say, yeah.
Okay, let me tell you one of the most shocking stories they shared, and trust me, my mouth was literally hanging open when I heard this. Picture this. It's 1 a.m. The boys are completely exhausted from grinding in the studio all night, and there's literally a blizzard raging outside like something out of a nightmare. They're finally about to get some well-deserved rest when there's this aggressive, terrifying banging on the door at 4 a.m.
Remember a time when we thought we were finished and we left the studio around 1 o'clock? It was snowing out, a damn blizzard. At 4 or 5 in the morning, all of a sudden, bang, 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 he remembered. Diddy is at the damn door, knocking it down. He came in and sat down and was like, "Turn on all the lights. Y'all asleep? Y'all are happy with that record?"
Diddy, can you even process this? There's Diddy standing there like some kind of midnight tyrant, demanding they turn all the lights back on and get back to work. No rest, no mercy, just pure pressure to deliver. And honey, if you think that's bad, hold on to your seats because that's not even the worst part. Get this. Another time, after they'd been working all night long, these poor boys were trying to make their way home in another blizzard when Diddy, I kid you not, drives by in his fancy Benz, honks, waves, and just leaves them there in the freezing snow. The audacity, the disrespect, like, who does that to their own artists?
That day was a huge snowstorm, more than 4 kids from Atlanta had ever seen. As we're leaving, Puff is leaving too, in a Benz with chains on the tires and everything. He rolls down the window and is just like, "I'll holler at y'all." And he drives off.
But wait, because this story gets even more wild. Imagine being peacefully asleep, dreaming about success and stardom, when suddenly, bam! There's Diddy at 2 or 3 in the morning, buzzing their door like a maniac to drag them back to the studio. These poor boys were literally walking zombies. Poor Q Parker literally begged him, saying, "Puff, we got school in an hour." The desperation in his voice just breaks my heart.
Remember Diddy making the group members work late into the night many times in the early days of their career. So many times we'd be asleep after a full day of recording, and he'd pull up in front of our apartment at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, ringing our apartment buzzer down in the lobby.
And y'all, here's where it gets even more twisted. Like, seriously, grab your pearls because this is shocking. When Diddy first had his eyes on 112, these boys were basically babies. We're talking 16 or 17 years old. Sweet, innocent teenagers with stars in their eyes. But instead of meeting them somewhere professional like, oh, I don't know, maybe an office, this man had them meet him at a club for teenagers. Like, who does that to children? I am literally shaking.
Diddy got a hold of it and liked what he heard on tape, but needed to hear it in person. So, during a business trip to Atlanta, he met up with the boys at a local club for an on-the-spot audition.
Yeah, he liked us. Well, actually, we sang for Puffy in the parking lot of a club in Atlanta called 112. This is also where we got the name 112 from.
And surprise, surprise, Diddy became a fan as well. He saw a money-making opportunity and sealed the deal.
And honey, let's be real for a hot minute. Was this really just some casual intro to the nightlife? Or was Diddy playing some sort of twisted power game? testing these children to see if they'd play by his rules in his fast-paced, high-stakes world. The audacity of putting teenage artists in adult spaces right from the start. It's giving major red flags. And when I tell you this is just the beginning of the manipulation, trust and believe.
Has been a significant force in the music industry. There have been claims by certain artists regarding disputes over rights and challenging experiences.
Now, Michael Keith spilled some serious tea when he admitted they started questioning if Diddy's style was dedication or straight-up domination. And get this, despite all their hard work, despite all those hit songs that were literally everywhere, their bank accounts were looking tragically empty. They were topping charts while living like they weren't even on them. The math ain't mathing, sweeties.
You know, the type of deal we had signed, you know what I'm saying, and really understanding how, at that point, how it affected us financially. Because in the beginning, like, we kind of knew what the deal was. We kind of somewhat knew what we were signing.
But guess who's drowning in debt? Slim. He's reportedly knee-deep in over $540K of debt. And those royalty checks? Gone. Despite his hit songs, he only made $3K according to the JasmineBrand.com. But wait, Q Parker from 112 has joined the bankruptcy club. Gossip reports he got just $1,000 in the bank. After being sued for using the 112 name, Q filed for bankruptcy as his house went into foreclosure.
Finally, and I mean finally, after years of this absolute madness, 112 had enough. When contract renewal time came around, they were like, bye-bye bad boy, and signed with Def Jam. And can you blame them? I mean, after everything they went through, I'm surprised they lasted as long as they did.
But the real kicker came when they found out there were issues with the paperwork at Bad Boy. The contracts were all jacked up, making them feel like they were being played.
But here's the real gag, and trust me, this will make your boil. For years, none of these artists owned their own music. I'm talking about their own sweat and tears, and they couldn't even claim it as theirs. While Diddy was living his best life in mansions and on yachts, these artists were watching their hits make money they couldn't even touch. The injustice of it all.
Right now, how the publishing work? Didn't he give them their publishing back after it was all basically sucked dry?
So, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so they say if he gave it back, then that means he didn't take it then. So
he took all the money out of it and gave it back to
sales
him.
were high.
Now listen to this. It wasn't until September 2023, literally decades later, that Diddy suddenly decided to play nice and give back music rights to bad boy artists. But honey, we all know timing is everything. And this timing? Suspicious with a capital S. Like, why now, Diddy? What made you suddenly grow a conscience?
So why do you think Diddy did this?
There was a thing with, a conversation, and I would say with myself, Puff, our team, and, he basically kept his word. That this was a conversation years ago.
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any messier, hold on to your wigs because this next part is wild. Slim, yes, the lead singer of 112, tried to trademark the group's name behind his bandmates' backs. The betrayal, the scandal. Some say he was just looking out for number one, but others think he learned these power moves straight from Diddy himself. Like teacher, like student, I guess.
He wrote, I trademarked 112 in 2018, 8 years after it was abandoned. Anyone could have done it. For me, 112 is a priority, so business-wise, it made sense to protect what I risked everything for.
Fast forward to 2015, and despite all this all this drama, all this pain, 112 actually showed up for the Bad Boy reunion at the BET Awards and even joined the 2016 tour. But don't think for a second everything was sunshine and rainbows. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. By 2020, honey, it was legal drama galore. The group was fighting over trademark rights, and it seemed like the past just wouldn't let them breathe. And now, Diddy's getting hit with lawsuit after lawsuit, including one from a 17-year-old, and suddenly 112's story feels like just one chapter in this book of horror stories.
P. Diddy behind bars and indicted on federal and racket allegations. But those aren't the only accusations Diddy's facing. In fact, there are dozens of allegations dating as far back as the 90s.
But wait, there's one name that keeps popping up in all of Diddy's drama, and it's making everyone raise their eyebrows. Usher! Not many people know this, but Usher was actually playing matchmaker, convincing Diddy to sign 112, Kim Porter, and Faith Evans. But here's where it gets really interesting. When 15-year-old Justin Bieber came into the picture in 2009, guess who was right there in the middle of it all? It's giving Puppet Master vibes, and I don't like it. The pattern is absolutely chilling. Think about it. Usher at 13, Justin at 15, 112 at 16 or 17. All these young artists somehow connected to Diddy. The late-night studio sessions, the club meetings instead of proper business settings, it's giving predatory vibes. And I mean major predatory vibes.
Diddy's always had a weird fixation on Justin Bieber, if we have noticed in the past, because I have. But yes, I do believe that Justin Bieber is one of the victims.
You're how old at the time?
Well, we were like 16, 17, 16. See, we were still in high school, so a lot of the songs you hear on the first album, we didn't have a deal. We were still in school.
The truth is crystal clear. Diddy wasn't just signing artists, he was creating an empire built on control. Some might try to sugarcoat it as tough love, but with all these recent controversies coming to light, it's looking more and more like he was targeting young, impressionable talent he could mold and manipulate. The pieces are finally falling into place, and the picture they're creating is disturbing. And let's be real, 112 isn't alone in this. Other bad boy artists like Mace and the HELOO have similar horror stories. It really makes you wonder just how many artists are still trapped in these toxic industry situations right now. How many young talents are being controlled and manipulated as we speak? The more you dig into this story, the darker it gets. It's like peeling back layers of an onion, except every layer reveals something more shocking than the last. And you know what's really scary? This might just be the tip of the iceberg. So spill the tea in the comments. Did this change how you see Diddy and the whole bad boy legacy? Because honey, this tea has changed everything. The facade is cracking, the truth is coming out, and it's not pretty. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and stay tuned. We've got more shocking industry secrets coming your way that'll have your mouth on the floor. Trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. The tea just keeps getting hotter. It keeps getting hotter.